What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a Tinkaton team that I think is the best version of the Tinkaton team in the Ultra League. I have been playing around with some teams with this thing for the last few days. I did get a very okay IV1. It's good enough. I busted my butt to get the XLs and I built it, so I wanted to try it out. So let's talk about replacements for this team. If you don't have Tinkaton, which most of you probably don't yet, and it's okay if you don't because you don't need it. But you could be running something like a Alolan Sandslash. I also don't mind Drapion or Feraligatr in the lead instead of Tinkaton. I think they would all do very well in that role. If you don't have Galarian Moltres, that's okay. Run Golisopod or run Mandibuzz, and Jellicent can also be swapped out with a Golisopod if you like it. But this team is the best team that I was able to find with it, and it actually got me very nearly back up to 2,900 ELO, which is really nice for me at this point in the season after getting my butt beat in most of the other cups we had up to this point. So getting into this first game here, we're going to have a Golisopod lead. This is a very neutral lead, but I don't know that I really want to bring this, and I can't really bring in Jellicent, can't really bring in Moltres, so I'm going to just stay here with the Tinkaton and go ahead and play this out and just look to see what I can do in this game here. Now, I would do at some point, I would like to try and make a catch onto the Jellicent, but the opponent's holding their energy very nicely done here, and they're going to bring in Weezing, which has Brutal Swing, and it is a little bit of a pain for me to deal with here, but I'm going to be going for as much energy as I can. They're going to throw in a move on pretty good timing here. Brutal Swing isn't going to be nearly enough to two-shot us here, so I can live a couple and maybe shield later if I have to. I go for the Surf here on an undertap because if I go for one more Hex, they were going to get to a move, and I would have been at 100 energy, so I didn't want to end up wasting any energy on that next fast move. So I end up going for another Shadow Ball here, looking to try and get close to a knockout. Switch would be really swell here, but the game gives the opponent damage registration error, which means they're able to get a 2-turn move and a charge move in before my 3-turn move resolves, which is not how the game is normally supposed to work, but it happens to me, and I cheer myself on in victory when I get it, so they got one. It's all good. The game's broken. Welcome to Pokemon Go. If you're new here, game's busted. The opponent has a Gastrodon in the back, though, and my Moltres is singing to the skies here. We're just going to be going for as much farm as possible before throwing these Brave Birds, as I do not want the opponent to be able to take us out with body slams and mud slaps after the defense has been dropped. So gonna go straight for the Brave Bird here, look to knock out this Gastrodon, and they don't shield. They're putting all of their faith into the Golisopod, hoping that I was going to throw an Ancient Power, which nope. Since I know that they have Golisopod in the back, I know that the fast move pressure is not something I need to worry about, so I can very safely drop my defense with 2 shields to hide behind, and my Sucker Punches are just going to be dealing enough damage here to take out the Golisopod. We're just going to farm down here and look to take this first game, and I'll switch here just in case they had energy, just to guarantee the win, but we were good either way. Good game to the opponent. Next game, we got Tinkaton on the lead versus Guzzlord. We have met our target. The Guzzy Wuzzy was here, and now he's gone. Opponent's going to safe switch into a Drapion, and I'm really not sure. See, Drapion is like, that's what Tinkaton's here for. Opponent also has a Guzzlord, which is just, I have to figure out how to deal with the Guzzlord. The Drapion is more of a threat to my backline than the Guzzlord is. At least if I can get Moltres on the Guzzlord, I do have the ability to hit him with neutral charge moves, and the Sucker Punches are okay enough damage that I'm okay with them being resisted. But opponent is going to be able to get a couple charge moves off here. Most of the Drapions in the Ultra League I'm finding are not running Aqua Tail. They're running Sludge Bomb to deal with those fairy types, so we actually get a full farm down because of this now. And the opponent comes in with Talonflame, and I immediately pivot to my Moltres. I need to keep my Tinkaton alive to deal with the Guzzlord, but I also have 2 good responses in the back to a Talonflame because of that Ancient Power on Moltres. I'm going to be going for the Ancient Power here, speaking of, to try and see if I can't make the opponent psych up and use a shield. I'm low HP. Maybe I want to go for the Brave Bird, but no. They are looking to save that energy to deal, or save the shields here to deal with me in the back with their Talonflame. Now, all the energy from Guzzlord is resisted. I'm just going to go ahead and let this go, and I'm going to hope that the opponent says, you know what, Tinkaton's gone. I need my Talonflame for whatever's in the back. The opponent decides not to shield, and then Jellicent comes in and makes a fool out of that decision. Unfortunately, the opponent's going to have to concede here because Jellicent is just going to take that game. Well played. Next game, getting against one of my viewers here, Jellicent on the lead, and yeah, I don't know what's in the back because there's typically a fairy, though, behind Jellicent, so I'm just kind of hoping that maybe I can try to get off of that with my Moltres. Jellicent is a pretty good generalist, and given the opponent is water in the lead, Maybe they'll be weak to water in the back. Probably not, but we'll see what happens. I don't know their team. Jellicent's not a lead that I expect to see very much, so I haven't really gotten familiar with teams around it yet, but we're going to be going for the play rough here, trying to get some damage into the opponent's Jellicent. And I even consider maybe even bringing my Moltres in at some point here. I don't really feel like I should save my Tinkaton, though. If it has play in the back, you know, I needed to get rid of this thing. I tried to make a switch into my Jellicent, but the game decides to stutter and does not allow me to have it. But opponent has Primeape in the back, and we're going to be able to swap in Jellicent here to deal with it. We just want to hope that Moltres can handle whatever is in the back. And given that the opponent swapped, and because I played this game earlier today, and I know what's in the back, I should have been able to make a read here that, you know, we can use Moltres to deal with that because the opponent has 2 answers in the back to Moltres, technically. So, but I'm not going to know that while I'm playing the game. And so the opponent's going to be throwing a Rage Fist here, take me out. I'm going to look to get this farm on Moltres, and the opponent brings in Tinkaton. And I immediately top left because there's no way I'm winning that game. Next game, getting into a lead against Dusknoir here, and I'm kind of scared about this, to be honest. Obviously, Moltres is a good matchup, but Jellicent does not want to be dealing with Astonishes, Shadow Punches, or really even Hexes from another Ghost, so I just opt to stay in with Tinkaton and just try to, bring down the opponent's Dusknoir. And again, I'm just going to make out for a hope that maybe there's something in the back that Moltres and Jellicent can be here. I'm not even familiar with the Ultra League or Great League or any meta anymore. Y'all know how it is, dude. These teams have been wild this season. Like, there's just, everybody's running something completely different. There's no consistency in matchups. Very difficult to get these climbs in. I make a switch here, and I'm thinking like, hey, stupid, you just caught a Shadow Punch. But no, opponent dropped off a Dynamic Punch, and we go ahead and get ourselves Zip. Gets to Cradily now, which is just wonderful. As you see, there was something in the back for Moltres, but Cradily has Rock Tomb, and that would have been a very painful thing to deal with. Opponent is going to shield at the first move here. They do not want to take a Shadow Ball. Perhaps they see value in the Cradily, which, I mean, it's Cradily. Let's be honest, there's always value to be had. And then I'm going to go for another Shadow Ball, try and take this thing down a little bit lower. And then I'm thinking maybe switching. If I wanted to see if I could get to another move, and as soon as I realized I couldn't, which was one fast move a little bit too late there, we're going to be going into the Tinkaton to try and absorb that Rock Tomb. Opponent's going to bring in a Blastoise. And I'm going to take a chance on going for the Bulldoze for that defense drop to try and equalize our stats back out. And no debuff, and I'm in shambles now. Opponent's going to be over farming like crazy, and I have Moltres to deal with this, and that's it. I was really hoping for that defense drop. I have Jellicent in the back for a point where maybe I can make a catch, but my luck with catches lately has been terrible, so I'm not going to bank on it. We'll see what happens, though. Moltres comes in, looking to farm a bunch of energy here, and I switch and make a catch. I smash. My brain just tried to mash that whole sentence into one syllable. I don't know why. But in comes Moltres, and we're going to let this move go. Opponent's going to be going for that Hydro Cannon, doing some hard-hitting neutral damage. Those rollouts are a bit of a problem for me, though. I'm going to be looking to go for the Ancient Power. Opponent does not make a catch here, and I need to keep this shield alive for the Rock Tomb that this Cradily most likely has. And we get saved with a boost. Now the opponent's going for a charge move. If it's another Hydro Cannon, I think I'm going to be okay, but they go for the Skull Bash, and they have 1 HP. And then the opponent stops tapping. And at this point, I'm like, God bless this trainer. They're already legend. They're giving me a pass. They should have won that game, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll take it on to the next one. Where we get Zapdos in the... This game, I had to show this game. Okay, this is the most wild thing I've ever seen. And there's no way that I'm going to see something this insane and not put it in my channel. On my video for this team. So, opponent's got a Shadow Zappy in the lead. I'm like, okay, this is pretty spicy. I got to keep this out away from my back line. I'm just going to play it out with Tink. Opponent lets the Zapdos get no shielded. So now I'm thinking, surely my only problem, this electric Pokemon in the lead, is now gone. And then they come in with an Electivire. And I'm like, brother, what? So they shield up the play rough, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got a shield advantage here. And at this point, the opponent is very unlikely to throw an Ice Punch, so I'm going to go ahead and shield a Wild Charge. They can still, maybe try to get to 2 moves here. I mean, Electivire pacing is extremely fast. I'm going to go in for the Surf here. Opponent's going to be going to shield this next move, and then they're going to get to the Wild Charge just as I get to my next move. I'm going to be double shielding here, and I'm hoping that Jellicent can win me this game. Opponent's going to be going for an overfarm, and then they swap into the Zapdos and make a very nice catch. As I was hoping that their switch clock wasn't quite up yet, but it was. And now the opponent's Electivire can pretty much outpace the rest of my team and just destroy me in 2 shots. But we're going to try our best here. We're going to be looking to go for the Surf. Opponent's going for that Wild Charge. Can I Sucker Punch down? Surely there's not another Electric in the back, right? Right? No, there's a Magnezone. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm done. Good. You can have it. You can have it. Fantastic lead in the next game. We get a Florges, and they're going to swap straight into a Skeledirge. And I think, okay, I get a Ghost type. Skeledirge. I'm going to bring in my Galarian Moltres. And I'm going to find out why that was a problem. This is bad, okay? This is very bad. And I'm just like, huh? What do I do about this? Because the boosted Torch Songs are now going to do more damage because of the Incinerate boost is going to do more damage. That's going to be enough for them to win Switch. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, oh, they get Switch advantage. That is not good. So now my winning hope here is that somehow, some way, Jellicent with a shield advantage can sweep. That is now the place that I've put myself into. Unfortunately, I have to just stick with it and hope it works. Opponent's going to come in with Barbaracle, a Mud Slap user. This is definitely a trainer of culture, playing some Spice, and I love it. But I need to basically do whatever I can here to prevent this thing from being able to sweep me. Now I see this, and I'm thinking Jellicent is going to have a great time here. I save the shield for eventually what could be a Stone Edge, could be Grass Knot, doesn't matter. I know that I at least need to either save a shield for this or the boosted Trailblaze that's about to come. And because of the pacing from this Florges, that means I'm basically going to have to shield up this second Trailblaze in order to be able to get rid of this thing and hope that I have enough HP to withstand a neutral Stone Edge from the Barbaracle or Grass Knot. So I'm going to be looking to go for just a couple of hexes. I don't want to chance them getting to another Trailblaze, so I only throw 2 hexes and then the Surf. That's going to be enough to get this knockout here. And then I'm going to go ahead and look to swap 1 before I get to the move. Opponent goes for the Stone Edge, hopefully. There's no way this is Brick Break. It's Stone Edge. We're going to be able to get a little bit of Fairy Wind damage as the opponent decided to undercharge there to try and get some farm. But we're going to be able to get to the Surf next before they're going to be able to get to one of their Stone Edge and take that game. Very well played to the opponent. Love the Spice, dude. Next game against fellow content creators, a Twitch streamer, Dronicam. And, Tank doesn't like this, so I'm actually safe switching into Jellicent here. And he's going to bring in Zygarde. I'm like, man, I wish I had Ice Beam right now, but I don't. And so I'm going to be looking to go for as many Shadow Balls as I can. I know Zygarde has Crunch, and Tinkaton would be having a great time here. So I'm just kind of hoping at this point that Galarian Moltres might be able to sweep whatever's in the back, right? That's kind of my hope right now. So they're going to be going for that Crunch. That's going to put us down into a range where we basically need to put down a shield if we want to survive another charge move. And I'm hoping to try and pressure this Zygarde with another charge move, but they're at the Crunch right now. So I make a decision here. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to win Switch no matter what, because the Dragon Tails are going to do too much damage. Let's go Tinkaton. Let's get Hammer Time farm. So we're going to fully farm down the opponent's Zygarde here. If they throw Bulldoze, then so be it. It's a Zygarde. It doesn't matter if it's super effective. But they have a Crunch, and that's fine. I'm going to be looking to get this massive farm down and then immediately switch into my Galarian Moltres. So I'm going to save the energy just in case I need to deal with something later. And there's Tink in the back. So that's a loss, but good game, well played. Or as I like to say, nice alignment trainer. Next game, Dusclops in the lead, or Dusknoir in the lead. I keep mixing those up. I realized that in my last video. We're going to be looking to go for the Play Rough here. They are on Astonish, which means they're going to be doing more fast move damage, but their pacing is slightly worse than if they had Hex. Play Rough is going to do quite a bit of damage here and almost put it down into a range where even a Bulldoze would be near lethal. I'm going to go ahead and let this first move go. They typically go for the Shadow Punch first because they'll still need 2 moves to get a knockout. Then the game completely lags, and instead of being able to get a move in, I don't know if I could or not. Hard to say, but opponent's going to go for the Dynamic Punch. That's going to do a ton of damage. Moltres comes in. Opponent brings in a Gastrodon. Automatically just switches right out. And Moltres is happy. He's sitting up in the sky. This little slug is slinging mud at him. It's not doing very much. That's okay. we're going to be going for Ancient Power here because I actually don't want to drop my defense because I don't know what's in the back yet. I, in hindsight, probably should have just gone for the Brave Bird because there's no way they ever shield this, right? They know this is a lost matchup, but we'll just go ahead and continue. I'm looking to actually see if I can't fish for a boost here with these Ancient Powers and look to try and get a farm down afterwards. Maybe land a Brave Bird to whatever's in the back. See if I can apply this energy after the matchup. Maybe boost it. I'm fishing for it. We do get the boost, but I swap in anyway, and the boost is all for naught because I look to go and catch this move on Jellicent. The opponent now is going to bring in the Feraligatr that they had hiding in the back, and I'm like, man, am I glad I didn't have to see this with my Moltres, but now I'm in trouble, right? This thing is going to be looking to go for Rock Tombs. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Surf Bait. Opponent actually goes ahead and shields that, looking to try and get to a Rock Tomb before I get to a Shadow Ball here. Gonna throw another Surf here. Do want some damage before I get debuffed, as I know I'm not getting to another move before they debuff me. So I'm going to go ahead and let the first move go. This is a very risky play. I'm going to go ahead and just let it go because I know Rock Tomb's not going to do too much damage, but the opponent has two of them. And now I'm a little bit trouble here. I'm going to actually swap straight into my Moltres here. We do have some energy. I'm going to be able to go for this Ancient Power, and the opponent has Dusknoir and Gastrodon in the back. They're not going to have a whole lot of fast move pressure here, and the opponent doesn't have a Rock Tomb ready. They try to get a farm down, but are unsuccessful, and now we have a weakened Moltres, but they have no fast move pressure, so they're going to come in with the Dusknoir. We're both going to get simultaneously KO'd by fast moves, and then Jellicent gets the Hex down before the opponent could get to two charge moves that even aren't going to have a chance to KO, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. Next game, Tinkaton against Feraligatr. Another very neutral matchup. I don't like this at all. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to farm up to that player off. Opponent's going to be going for a charge move right here on 7, trying to CMP us here. I'm going to go for a Bulldoze bait because if I get the debuff, I have a chance to be able to continue to go for another Bulldoze and put some pressure on them to throw earlier. But realistically, this is not a good matchup for Tink whatsoever because you get so very cleanly beat in every shielding scenario pretty much. The opponent can go for their Hydro Cannons first, and I would quite honestly like to just get rid of this thing, so I'm going to go for the player off here. Maybe either get a shield from them guaranteed or get rid of this Feraligatr, which could be quite lethal into my backline if I leave it unchecked. The opponent's going to let that go. They have a Cobalion on the back. I bring in my Jellicent, and I should have brought in my Moltres, but I'm thinking, okay, we have Moltres, it's flying type, able to do quite a bit of damage with Brave Bird, but the opponent decides to not shield what could have been a bait, but we're going to be able to take that game. I just didn't want to deal with the, just didn't want to deal with it. I don't know. It's okay. Good game, though. Anyway, next game, we got a opposing Galorweezing, and this is why I kind of like having Bulldoze. Heavy Slam would be fine here, too, so I'm going to actually build up to what would be a Heavy Slam on 6 Fairy Winds, and then we're going to go ahead and throw. Now, the opponent's throwing before they get to 7 Fairy Winds, which tells me they're not running Overheat, so they went for Sludge. They probably have Brutal Swing, so I'm actually going to stay in this matchup here until the opponent decides to swap out, and then I do take a little bit longer than I should have to swap out. I was trying to get a little bit of energy back just in case I have to enter that matchup again later, but now I'm going to go ahead and shield what's most likely a Dynamic Punch, and then I'm going to try and get this farm down here. The opponent gets to another Dynamic Punch, then so be it. Regardless, I'm not shielding this. I don't know how much damage this will do. I've never done this before in this matchup, but Dynamic Punch isn't going to be able to get us a knockout here, and now I know that I can always live at least one move from the Dusknoir. I don't know. I know it does a lot of damage. I just don't know how much exactly. We go for a Brave Bird here. Opponent's over farming, trying to get that farm down after our defense is debuffed, but we get to another Brave Bird here, and we're going to maybe be able to get the other shield if the opponent decides not to let it go. They do let it go. Brave Bird's not going to do it. The opponent has a Jellicent in the back, and we have Tinkaton well out of Shadow Ball range and our Jellicent, which we can still come in with and just guarantee go for these Shadow Balls because a Shadow Ball is not lethal. I don't have to worry about being taken out by the opponent, and I can go for my own pretty safely here. I'm either going to get a shield, and I can shield back if I want to, or I can just let Tink come in. As soon as they let that go, I let my Tink come in and go for the Bulldoze, and that's going to take that next game, and we're going to be able to cap off that set with a 4-1. Team was super, super solid. It took me a couple of tries to get the kinks out, and once we did, we figured it out. This team actually was really strong, got me mostly positive sets today, and got me nearly 2,900 elo, so we're going to look to make that final push to Legend. But thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one, and let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, please, by the way. Thank you very much. Bye.